Heyo, and what's up, gang? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining us once again tonight. It is June the 4th, and WWE Raw just gave us Extreme Rules. We have some new champions, and we have a brand new #1 contender, but the more things change, the more they stay the same. And we are going to talk about all of that right here and right now on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Let's do it, baby.
Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
What is up, everybody? Thank you so much once again for joining us here at Sledgehammer TV for the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show official review of WWE Extreme Rules. And I don't really know what to think. We're going to start off right at the top of the card, as we have a brand new #1 contender in the form of the Samoan submission machine, Samoa Joe. I am absolutely ecstatic at the fact that we are going to see Samoa Joe going one-on-one against Brock Lesnar. What doesn't make me happy is that it's going to happen at Great Balls of Fire. Yes, this name is actually happening. This event is actually happening. And I don't want it to be lost on anybody out there that I feel like this whole thing is just a big joke being played upon us by Vince McMahon. Because how could he be serious with this? And why are we even going off on this tangent? I'm going to show you why right now. Take a look at this fucking logo. Clearly, it is a set of two flaming testicles at the end of a long and fiery shaft, which is exactly what we're getting with this pay-per-view. And this logo looks a little contradictory to the theme of Great Balls of Fire, which is supposedly going to be some kind of a fun 50s doo-wop 60s thing. Now, let's not get it twisted. I'm all for the oldies. I love me my classics. I once in a while turn on some Louis Prima, some of the Jerry Lee Lewis and Elvis Presley, if I'm so in the mood for such a thing. Do you know when I'm never in a mood for this? When I'm watching wrestling. I'm not going to go too hard on it. It may be fun. They may do something different with the set. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I don't even want to do this with my hand over here because I feel like I'm cupping these balls. And clearly this is Vince McMahon's ball obsession with his genetic grapefruits and all this. He loves sophomoric humor. And how did this get cleared? Seriously, if you're a designer for Vince McMahon, you're a graphic designer, you see this poster, you don't see balls. Now I know it's I know it's supposed to be balls, but did they really have to make it look like a nutsack? Somebody needs to explain this to me. How could this happen? Did the jerk-off that worked for Vince McMahon, hey Vince, we're getting a lot of slack here about the name of this pay-per-view. We're coming up with the logo, but the team's having a hard time. We don't know. Vince McMahon doesn't give a shit about the fans. Fuck him. Just put a picture of my dick on there and we'll be done with it. Set my dick on fire. Make that the logo. Okay, Vince McMahon, that's what we're gonna do, sir. Thank you very much. And here it is. This is Satan's cock. And that's the logo for Great Balls of Fire. That is enough of that. Let's get into a review of the show. The Fatal 5-Way was actually not bad. It was a little boring at first. I mean, there's so many elements in there that there was a lot of, awkward moments where it looked, to me at least, that the guys were unsure of what to do, but it definitely picked up and delivered in the end. We had a fantastic spot by Seth Rollins. The way he took off from the turnbuckle and crashed through Bray Wyatt on the announce table from the outside, it was absolutely majestic. When they showed the replay at the end, he looked like he was literally flying like a superhero, almost like he was truly defying gravity and wasn't even going to come down, that he was just going to keep going up. It was a thing of beauty. Seth Rollins is an absolute beast in the ring. He's a fantastic athlete. Bray Wyatt took that shit, man. He definitely felt that impact. I don't care what anybody says. And you could see that it looked as if Seth Rollins may have legitimately tweaked his knee. There was no news posted immediately following the pay-per-view, but we will be keeping our eyes on that, because I believe I seen, as many of you probably seen as well, Seth Rollins clutching at his leg, and it was not looking good in his facial reactions, and something may have gone wrong, and let's hope not, and that the architect will be just fine. Everybody else in the match was just fine. I was not too happy with the fact that Samoa Joe choked out Finn Balor in the manner that he did to get the win. There is a lot of history between the two, so maybe it's a way for them to, to lead into a feud with the two of them. But here's my concerns. It's highly rumored that whoever was getting this title shot tonight is just going to have a one-off match with Brock Lesnar at this stupid pay-per-view, and then whoever was really going to challenge Brock Lesnar was going to lead into the SummerSlam main event starting after this event at Great Balls of Fire. If that's truly the case, I do not wish to see Samoa Joe in this light. If their plan is to start a long-term feud building between Joe and Lesnar, maybe escalating and culminating at SummerSlam, I could be okay with that. But the way they go forward with this angle is very, very important to the future of this company. If they just feed Joe to Lesnar, in order for Lesnar to end up losing to Reigns eventually, it's going to harm everybody. Everybody involved. It's going to make Brock look bad, it's going to make Joe look bad, and it's definitely going to paint Roman in that further negative light that the fans just don't receive him the way the company wants to, and it's just a concern. It's just a minor concern, but it needs to be voiced out there. It's just, I'm worried. I'm worried how this is going to be booked. Samoa Joe could very well beat Brock Lesnar at this pay-per-view, setting up a long-term feud for Brock to try to get the title back. Samoa Joe is something unlike anything that the Beast has faced thus far. And we have the Beast Incarnate versus the Samoan Submission Machine coming up at this ridiculously named pay-per-view, which is only, I think, their way of getting us to watch it. In order to make sure everybody is invested in this stupid pay-per-view, they had to give us a very big main event, and that is what they did. And I'm not going to cry about it so much just yet. I'm happy to see Joe being spotlighted. I was just hoping for more of a plan. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems like they did this out of nowhere, as it always seems they do with things on Monday Night Raw. But we'll see how this develops, and we will keep you abreast on everything. The match itself was okay. It's okay. It had some really good spots, like I said, but I don't know, I was a little disconnected from it for some reason. It just didn't do it for me until Samoa Joe won at the end. The Cruiserweight Championship submission match was very, very good, and this was probably the only match on the night that I didn't really agree with the winner. I thought now would have been a good time to put the belt on Austin Aries and allow Neville to maybe chase a little bit, and he could get it back in a few months. And I'm always one for long title reigns, and I'm not mad at it. I don't hate it, but I definitely wouldn't have hated if Austin Aries won. I think it would have been a good time to give it to him, and then maybe give it back to Neville at SummerSlam, lead that angle, let it build, let it change a little bit, because now we're just kind of stuck in the same storyline where Aries is going to continue to chase for the title, or they're going to move on to the next contender, or something's going to happen with Austin Aries, because he was looking very strange at the end of this match, sitting on the outside, staring directly into the camera very awkwardly, making some strange faces as if he was disappointed in himself, or as if he looked like he was going to snap, and he didn't have a banana around to make him happy. So we'll have to see what goes on as Neville, the king of the cruiserweights, retains the cruiserweight championship in a very good cruiserweight match with Austin Aries. The Raw Tag Team Championship Steel Cage match didn't really make much sense, but it was a good match as far as moves and stuff go. The finish of the match was weird. I know they clearly stated that both team members had to exit the cage in order to get the victory. But it just seemed odd to me that Jeff would just leave Matt in there. Obviously, this would be a fantastic way to lead into the broken angle, but there is no report saying that the WWE has any right or way to use that angle. Unless Matt Hardy's just going to go full-on broken and say screw it, or he's going to change it and do something different. I don't know. Because that's what this moment felt like to me. It felt like the beginning of the breaking of the Hardys. Matt Hardy left in the cage by himself, by his brother, to fight both members of Sheamus and Cesaro, and eventually losing the match. The way the match finished, I mean, you couldn't be more clearly pro wrestling. You could see Matt Hardy looking across the steel cage, watching the other two guys drop down, not pulling his brother fast enough. Sheamus and Cesaro go on to win this match and take the titles away from the Hardys. Once again, as with everything I've been saying so far, the only thing that matters now is what happens next. I don't hate the fact that the Hardys lost. In fact, it was already kind of getting old on me. But I just want to see something change. Something needs to happen now to either elevate Sheamus and Cesaro, or change the Hardys, or maybe the Revival coming back has something to do with this. The storyline with Enzo and Cass, where Cass is going to end up being the guy that's been beating up Enzo, so they're going to probably not even be a tag team in the division anymore. It's an interesting time for the tag team division now that Sheamus and Cesaro have been crowned the champs once again. And like I said, I'm not mad at it. I don't hate it. I just need for what happens next to make more sense than what happened in that match last night, because it just seemed odd. Like, that finish was weird. Great spots though. Fantastic an assisted white noise by both Sheamus and Cesaro on Matt Hardy from the top rope in the cage looked absolutely fantastic. Jeff Hardy doing what Jeff Hardy does best. He ran to the top of the cage, flipped off like a monkey, didn't even look to see where Sheamus and Cesaro were in the ring. I swear to God, go back and check it out. He climbs up the cage, gets on the little corner piece, and just jumps. He don't even look to see where the guys are. He's just like, I'm up here, and I go, jump. Like, he looked after he leapt. Looked after he leaped. Leaped? Either way, he didn't fucking look. And he nailed him. Nailed him absolutely perfectly. I thought the Hardys were going to come away with it, and that they were going to continue until they were allowed to be broken. But we're definitely hitting a speed bump here, and we will have to see, like I said, where this goes from here. Kendo stick on a pole match. Many varying emotions during this match. One, I'm absolutely disgusted with the way the WWE has handled Bayley. From the minute she was brought up to this very moment now, where she's looked like an absolute sad sack and an absolute waste of time, and like she couldn't even fight a dog in the ring. She's just, there's nothing to the Bayley character on Raw. She is a shell of what Bayley was on NXT. They brought her up completely differently than how they grew her organically in NXT. There was a way to do it, and they failed. This Bayley experiment, and at the end of this night, proves that it's been an epic failure. Alexa Bliss, on the other hand, I'm very proud of. She took the spotlight in this match. She knew that everybody shit all over the This Is Your Life segment. She knew that this match had to stand out, and she knew that she had to stand out. And she continues to do so. She did an absolute fantastic job as the heel character in this match, absolutely whooping Bayley like she was her little sister. Little 5-foot Alexa Bliss just totally going to town on the bigger, more athletic, stronger Bayley, who just couldn't seem to get hardcore. After weeks and weeks of her saying, I'm going to be hardcore, I've been watching Tommy Dreamer matches, I've been watching the Sandman, I've been doing this and that. And then she gave us nothing. I don't get it. I don't get the writing. I don't get any of the storyline involved in this angle. It just makes absolutely zero sense. Zero. And Bayley comes off looking like absolute trash. And your personal feelings on her aside, that character and everything that she put into that character and how far she's come. And yeah, she is just a fan, which is what makes it more special, because she's not supposed to be where she is. That would be like me finally becoming a promoter or an owner of a company. Like, I'm just a normal guy. I'm not supposed to be in that type of position. But if I work my ass off and I earn that position, as Bayley earned her position on the roster, I would expect things to get better. But things just got worse. And Alexa Bliss has stolen the spotlight and has taken the women's division by storm in both shows. And yes, her performance was lacking in the This Is Your Life segment, but the greatest actor in the world could only do so much with garbage. I mean, there's only so far you can take it, and she did it the best she could. And this match, she just tore Bayley apart. It was almost like a squash match, and Bayley just looked, like I said, like trash. Terrible for Bayley, great for Alexa. Women's Championship stays where it is, around the waist of Little Miss Bliss, and that is fine with me. Sasha Banks and Rich Swann defeat Alicia Fox and Noam Dar. That's all we're saying about it, because I don't fucking care about any of it. It was the one portion of the night where I was struggling to keep my eyes open. And that was towards the beginning of the show. So, there you go. That's all you need to know. Something is wrong with Sasha Banks. I don't know. Maybe... I'm not going to say what everybody's going to say is, oh, she just needs a heel turn. Yeah, of course. I mean, that's the obvious answer. But she's better than what she's doing. Maybe she just don't like the angle and it's just coming out bad. She's not performing. I don't know. Forget it. We're not going to go any more into it. It doesn't deserve more time than that. That's all you need to know. The Miz versus Dean Ambrose for the Intercontinental Championship was a decent match for what they've been giving us as of late. It was better than some of the stuff they did on SmackDown. It was not as good as their previous pay-per-view matches. This feud has fizzled out for me, and I hope they move away from it very quickly now that The Miz is our new Intercontinental Champion, winning by shenanigans. As I said in the preview and prediction show, I was hoping that The Miz would have Maurice get involved and just win him the title by getting Dean Ambrose disqualified. That's why you put the caveat in there. That's why you did this, to give himself the advantage. And they did pull that spot, but the referee finally, for some reason, this referee is smarter than the average ref and knew what he was doing and did not allow Maurice's interference to cause Dean Ambrose the disqualification. It did, however, get Maurice ejected, which led to some more distracted behavior from Maurice as she was leaving the arena, causing Dean Ambrose to bump the referee, and both of them would fall to the outside. The referee now is threatening to disqualify Dean Ambrose directly because you just touched me. You threw me out of the ring, you hit me, and he believes he did it on purpose. The Miz is just lying in wait in the ring this whole time. Dean Ambrose is pleading his case. The ref does not pull the trigger on the disqualification, but as Dean Ambrose slides back into the ring, The Miz pulls the trigger on a skull-crushing finale. The referee runs back into the ring, makes the 3 count. The Miz, already within 5 minutes of having the title, has made it more relevant just by the way he's won it. by how important he made that win, how excited he was to be the Intercontinental Champion, and in the few minutes I got to see of Raw Talk after the WWE Extreme Rules event, he came out and did what The Miz does best after the show on Talking Smack or Raw Talk or whatever you want to do. He came out and he killed it. He killed it on his promo and already has made the Intercontinental Championship more relevant in less than an hour. He's the best Intercontinental Champion 7 times now that we've had in a long time. He knows what that belt means, and he is going to do everything he can to make everybody believe that that is the best belt in the company, because it's kind of supposed to be. The best wrestlers hold that belt. So that is the belt that many of us fans hold dear to our hearts. Yeah, we love our world champions and our universal champions and our tag team champions, but there was something special always about the Intercontinental Championship. It's above the United States Championship. It's even above the tag team championships. That was what you wanted to do. You wanted to be the tag team champion, then you wanted to be the Intercontinental Champion and use that to elevate yourself to be a world champion. But more often than not, you loved that Intercontinental Championship so much, you didn't even want to give it up. And you'd end up doing title for titles and things like that. It was fantastic stuff. The Intercontinental title getting the respect that it deserves back now that it is in the hands, once again, of the A-lister, The Miz. And it is awesome. Trust me. Other than that, on the pre-show kickoff match, we had Kalisto defeating Apollo Crews. And not only did I not care about this match at all, I did not care for the finish, because I was giving Titus O'Neil a little bit of credit and I was enjoying where he was going with Apollo Crews, but now he's already causing Apollo Crews to lose his matches due to his bumbling behavior on the outside, and it's getting old fast, and we already see the writing on the wall, and Apollo Crews is going to end up fighting Titus O'Neil. And the one most interesting thing about Apollo Crews that has happened in the longest time has been his pairing with this man, and is probably already on the cusp of coming to an end. And that was Extreme Rules in a nutshell, or as we should say, in a nutsack, because this is what's coming next from Monday Night Raw. Vince McMahon's flaming balls of fire, complete with a piano concerto provided to us by Jerry Lee Lewis, and probably a bunch of 50s props and records and poodle skirts, and oh God help us, who the hell knows what they have in store for us. Tomorrow night is Monday Night Raw. Hopefully they take all the right steps in the right direction and get these storylines going to a place we all will enjoy seeing them. Do not forget, if you have not watched my video on WCPW and the What Culture scandal with YouTube, make sure you check that video out. It is live on the channel right now. I did it because I believe in it. I believe in the cause, and I think that we all need to do our part as wrestling fans and get involved. And that's all I'll say about it. Go and check it out. Watch it. Like it. Share it. Make sure it gets out there. Let's help them help us and everybody in the community get wrestling back to normal on YouTube, so we can all start making that sweet, sweet cash that we all really, really need to make our channels run. Because you can't do things for free, man. It doesn't work. Nothing's for free in life. And with that, we are going to bid you adieu, because I'm fucking tired and it's late, and now I gotta post this shit for you guys because I love you, and I want to thank you guys so much for being here. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you have not done so already. I don't know what the fuck you're waiting for. Subscribe, man. Be a part of the movement. Be a part of the channel. We are more than happy to have you here. I am Nick Nightmare. This is Blue the Snowball Microphone. Don't forget to smash that thumbs up button, and we are out of here. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time right here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Peace out.